Welcome back to another exciting episode of, I don't know, whatever. Anyway, so we're going to work on the button pad and the LCD display inset and some lights. Um, Probably put in the slots for the speaker. Um, it's more difficult to do this in Onshape than it is Tinkercad, because Tinkercad you can just build something and then drag it over and stick it against the wall, versus in here where you got to actually start a sketch on the surface you want to put it on. And if your surface is curved, well, that's why we have this little flat spot right in this area here, because I had to have something to put these two things on. Well, actually, this one here to cut it out. Um, yeah, actually, it was this one as well. All right, so I've got some grip. So let's see. Let's go ahead and see about cutting in a speaker lines. Let's see. How are we going to do this? Okay, so I could, hmm, I'd like to just cut the slots right there. Okay, how are we going to do this? I think we're going to have to start from the right side. And that is the stick out. Okay. Sketch. Let's try sketching here. Well, that's not going to work. Um, all right, we'll try it off of this one, this surface here. Okay. All right, we're going to have to throw in some rectangles here. I'm going to try to keep it in line with the LCD screen. That'll be convenient. Let's see. Usually just do 3 slots. Okay, we'll go with this. And throw some lines here. Try to separate these to where I can extrude them, and they hopefully will go through here. I'm going to try to angle them a bit, but if not, then we'll just go with it. Okay. That. Yeah, like that. All right, so we're going to go with that. All right. And I'm going to go with that. All right. Now, let me remove the sections that are going to be, where's it at? Sections that are going to be in the way. Trim. Okay. All right. So turn that off. Probably not that critical that it's, you know, straight, but I would like to be able to make it angled, but we're gonna, how should I do this? Cancel that. Okay. Sketch. Okay, let's see if we can angle that. How are we going to do that? It can actually. I think I'm just going to have to go ahead and extrude them and then move the extruded forms. Okay, 9, extrude. Go down here. I'm going to do them individually, so if I can see if I can rotate them. Okay, remove. Actually, that's not so bad. I could live with that. So cancel that for a moment. Nope. Okay. All right. Okay. Extrude. I didn't say edge. Okay. I've got all three. Remove. Go ahead and drag that back so we don't have anything crazy. I'm not sure if that's the right size or not. Let's see. Okay. Drag this out. Fine. Okay, and that was 17 millimeters tall and 12 millimeters wide. Okay, let's see what we got in here. Let's cancel that for the moment. That's quite a bit longer. So that's going to be, the speaker's going to be around this big, I think. But that's not so bad, but the curve will be noticeable. Okay. Sketch. See if we can move this down a bit. Come on. There we go. All right, so what is the distance here? 20 millimeters, still a bit long. Okay. And that's 18. Excuse me, sorry. Okay, so that's 18-ish millimeters, and it's about 17 for the length of the speaker holder. Um, so that's the, should I make it smaller? I think I should make it smaller. Let's go a little bit more. We'll go with that. And that should give us um, enough of a sound hole to hear the speaker, as well as enough coverage there on the ends there that it's not going to have the curve of the speaker hopefully noticeable. Hopefully. Okay, so remove. There we go. And click OK. And that looks pretty good. There we go. And then we'll end up building a uh, speaker holder, and then we'll bring it in and rotate it and then plaster it against the wall here and sink it in to where it's considered to be attached. And then that should make that good for the speaker. Let's see. Let's go ahead and work on the buttons and the lights. Let's see. So what I've got so far for the lights is 3.8 millimeter by 3 millimeter. Okay. So sketch here. All right. And we're going to go with a middle line to start with to work from. And let's go ahead and just draw another one here, because I have no idea how big these circles are going to be, but we'll just start with that. Oh heck, we'll just divide it in three. That's not bad. Okay, so let's see, 3.8 millimeter. Okay, yeah, that's not bad. Okay, 3.8. All right. So, although that does look like it needs to be spread out some more for that. So I'm going to just delete those. Turn that off. And I'm going to offset that. Although maybe not. Maybe I should do a transform instead. Yeah. Okay. Let's get rid of that. So we have a copy option here. Transform. Okay. Let's see if I can copy it. Hold down Control. I can. Okay. Right. And then hold down Control again. Nope. Okay. Enter. Enter. Okay. Nope. That's not what I wanted. All right, let's try that again. Transform. See what Alt does. Okay. Hmm. Okay. I have to figure that out. Let's see. Transform. Autobots. Okay. Let's see. But I really need to. Why is it not giving me that option? Maybe I need to do this. Oop, I think I just messed that up. I think I did, yeah. Okay. Sketch, sketch. All right, yeah, apparently I did that wrong. Let me fix that. All right, center line. Let's go across. 3.8. Okay, now maybe what I need to do is to do that and then transform XYZ, copy part, except that that part's not, that's a part, not a, shoot. Okay. Well, looks like I'm just going to have to throw in a circle here and a circle here and just call it good. 'Cause I don't really know what the other procedure is going to be, so let's see, try to get it somewhat centered. Okay, that's going to have to do. And do this, remove, pull that back a little bit, call that good. So that's where so those three lights are going to go. As long as there's no issue with putting them in, we'll have to do a test print. Probably section it out here and then section it vertically as well as horizontally to get just a piece printed, and then I can test fit the LEDs and stuff before soldering them. And then what I might actually do is once I get the button blocks in here uh, and print this out, then I might just place everything in place, solder it all together as a unit, so that when I print this out normally, I can just stick it in the holes. Um, which, yeah, that'd probably work. Okay, so let's go ahead and get the blocks. Let me check the size of those. Okay. Move that down. Okay, and that is 6.4 wide by 6.4 tall. Okay. So I should do that with the center point. Six 6.4, 6.4. Let's see what that does. Okay. So now the problem with this is I've got to get 3 of them in here, 3 buttons. Well, on my other one I have 3 buttons. I could reduce that to 2 if it became necessary. I don't really have a reason to have 3. I had to make up something to use the third one for anyway. So, let's see. So if I were to, this is on the line, so it's probably not going to move up. Oh, I was wrong. Okay. Let's see. Put it there. And then, let's see, another one. 6.4, 6.4. Okay, and okay. That should be good enough for that. Okay, and I should be able to grab that and move it down. That's pretty good. I like that. Now these are just these are not the buttons. These are the inset blocks in the back side is where they're going. But I have to extrude them. So see if I can do this right. Extrude. Okay, so starting offset. We're going to have to use a starting offset here. And that's going to be 2 millimeters. As you can see, nothing's changing. Okay. I've done this before. Entity. Oh, that's new. Okay, so we need remove. Okay, so we got to, I need to be able to do an offset start, which is going to move it back inside before it starts to remove. And starting offset blind 5 millimeters. I've done this before. Why is this? Why is it? Is this? Ah, that's why. Because I didn't start a new sketch, and that's why these extruded at the same as these rather than being offset. So, technically, I could starting offset, remove. Oh, okay, the other direction, and go with 2 millimeters. And see, they're not all the way through. Okay, I think I'm just going to have to. I'm going to have to cancel that and we're going to have to cancel the extrude. Okay. I think we're going to have to remove these here and put them in there separate as a separate cut. Nope. Okay. All right. So we're going to have to redo these, but it's pretty easy to do. So I'll have to make a new sketch for these. All right. Delete you. Okay. At least we have these. If they still show up when we do a new sketch, that'd be nice. Okay. Done with that. So these are going to be there for the LEDs to push through. Sketch. New sketch. Okay. I'm going to do center line again. And there's not. So let's go back into here. Center block. 6.4. 6.4. Okay, and turn that off so we can drag it. Okay, drag this down. That looks pretty good. We'll leave it there. New block. 6.4. Okay, and turn that off. That's pretty good. Well, we have to leave a space there because um, we if we just put a block here, a whole big old section, and we put the holes in and stuck them all together, I can't guarantee that the spacing the spacing between the holes will be correct in order for these to be sitting next to each other correct. So if I were to just put the correct size block out here and then a hole in the center of that, then I know it's going to fit there and it's not going to interfere with anything down here. So while it may seem a bit extra, it's for good reason. So let's go ahead and do another one. 6.4. Okay, this one is a little bit closer, so we need to move it a bit. Darn it. Ah, okay. I need to fix the height of this, obviously. I'm gonna remove that. Yeah, that's the drawback about having those. Okay, delete. Okay, let's do this again. Okay, now turn that off. Grab this, drag it up. That looks to be pretty close. Okay, we're going to offset or remove these three. And it's going to be starting offset of 2 millimeters in reverse. That doesn't seem right. There we go. So that doesn't show up here yet. So depth 2 millimeters. There we go. That means it's going to be 2 millimeters, a 2 millimeter thick wall. Um, on the front that we're going to put a hole in, and that's where the button's going to come through. But there's these blocks in the back here that are inset to allow the blocks to sit. So let's go ahead and finish that. Yeah, I'll go with that. And now we will actually, you know what? I'll just go ahead and do the same sketch. Although I can't, because if I try to do another sketch, it'll just leave 2 millimeters in the back of the holes, and I can't do that. So, um, let's go ahead and show dimensions. There we go. Sketch here. Let's turn on that sketch so I can see it. That'll work. Okay, so but I'm in this sketch here. I can see the old one, so at least that way I can place these holes in the right place. So, what were the size of those holes? Okay. And that was 3.8, 3.8. Okay, so they're 3.8 millimeters as well. All right, so let's start with this, 3.8, 8. Actually, that's not right. That one, 3.8. Okay, now, okay, remove. I know I can leave it that way, but it just makes me feel better. Okay, let's see. Do that. Okay. Now, so if we look at these, we got 3 lights. Previously, what I've done is red, yellow, and green, which, you know, it seemed like a good idea at the time. 3 buttons to activate them. We have them coming through, and, huh? Okay. Let's go back this way. As you can see, there's a inset back there. This goes all the way through, but there's an inset for the blocks. So we should be able to place the buttons in those blocks, and they should stick through, and we should be able to push them with our thumbs without any issues. So we're going to call that good. And let's see, I need to go back to this and add another sketch to it, and add another thing to that sketch. Where's that sketch? That's not right. Not that one either. Sketch. Okay, let's extrude. To it. Extrude. Okay, there's sketch 6. That's what. Okay, sketch 6. All right, front. Okay, now we're going to add to this sketch. We're going to make it a little bit, we're going to add some to the bottom of the top there in order to provide a little ledge for the um, LCD screen to sit in, uh, just for convenience to keep it from moving around to locate it properly. We need to verify the size of that. Okay, undo, undo, okay. That doesn't seem right. Oh, I know why. That's why. Okay. Yeah, I had to pull the negative block out to be able to reach it and check the sizing on that. So let's put this at 90 or yeah, 90 degrees, whatever it is, so I can measure this properly. Tinkercad is kind of frustrating because when you when you rotate off of 90 degrees in Tinkercad and you try to measure edge to edge, it doesn't give you um, well, let me rephrase that. When you click on the little white dots that gives you a start and end point, and it checks the outside complete size of the entire unit rather than just the block you're trying to measure. So you have to disassemble the entire thing down to the basic blocks just to be able to measure each individual one. You can't just measure one edge to one edge on an assembled unit in Tinkercad. It's a pain. So I have to let's see, but that is going to be a 12.6 wide, uh, 12.6 wide and 43 tall. It's going to be kind of big. Okay, let's see. All right, 12.6 wide and 43 tall. What? Hate that. Oh, 12.6. There we go. Okay, now, as you can see, turn that off. It's pretty big. Because the LCD display is actually longer and the actual display area is actually a lot smaller. Um, so we're going to move it over here and move it down a bit. I think that'll do the trick. When we print it out, we'll test fit, make sure. Um, we'll do a test print to make sure that things fit the way they're supposed to. Okay, and okay, so what I need to do is make another sketch. That's the problem. To do another sketch. And I did it on this surface, I believe. Okay, because otherwise it's not gonna offset. Okay, that was 43 by 12.6. Okay, 12.6, 43. Okay, front. Turn that off. Okay, now we can maneuver it. It doesn't look too bad, but a little bit more. Okay, that's pretty good, I think. And then we're going to offset it again. So we're going to solid, crazy, remove, uh, starting offset, opposite direction. Where is it? Oh, there we go. And let's see, 2 millimeters. This one's actually easier. Okay. I don't know why this is sitting here. This looks correct. That's interesting. I wonder why that's still there. Oh, I know why. Okay. Face of sketch 13. There we go. Now it's correct. Okay. So we've got a 2 millimeter offset or 2 millimeter thick wall to put the LCD screen behind, just like the buttons. And 2 millimeters ought to be enough. And a lip there. So now we can put it in and test fit. And we can come in and adjust at a later date to readjust it. Okay, so I'm going to call that good, and that's still in there. Okay, a little off center, but that's no big deal. Okay, and then what happened to my? And extrude, sketch. Okay, we need to turn that off. All right, so sketch 9. I think the extrude has been moved or removed. Because that extrude number 7 is over there. Yeah, I think so. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to extrude those again. Remove. And we're just going to call that good. That's going to be extrude 11 down here. Not a big deal. Okay, so now we've got speaker holes. We've got offset LCD screen area. We've got LED holes, and we've got button holes plus offset blocks for the buttons. Okay, so that's pretty good. All right. Let's see, what else can we do here? We could make the holder for the speaker. We still have to make the section that holds the Arduino Nano or ESP32, whichever one we're going to use. We're just going to slide it in. It should wedge itself in there, or slide it in, and there should be a little pocket. And it will allow it to sit in there, maybe with a little bit of hot glue, who knows. And then be wired off to go to the speaker and the buttons here. And then any lights that we want to run up in this area here. Okay, so let's see. Um, let's see about the Arduino Nano support here. Okay, top. We know where things are at, so okay, let me check the dimensions on that. Okay, there it is right there. And that's going to be 44.5 tall by, we're going to have to readjust that. 44.5 tall by 18.3 wide. Okay. All right, I'm gonna make one sitting in here, and then I'm gonna extrude and offset it to the wall, straight back, I believe. So sketch that, sit it here. Nope, not that one. Wrong. Okay. Sketch, front. All right, that was what, 18.3 by 44 and a half. Okay, let's go ahead and 18.3, 44.5. So that is the size of the Arduino Nano. And we're going to place that inside here. Turn that off. Okay. Roughly centered. Roughly. Okay. Um, where is it? Okay, and it's roughly behind the LCD screen, I guess. That's probably okay where that is. I don't think there's any reason why we couldn't just leave it there. Height-wise, that is, and centered. But we're going to still offset it to the back in order to create the body of the Arduino Nano back here that I can make the holders off the side of. It's going to be easier that way. So, okay. Okay, extrude. Uh, 's close. Get all that off. Okay. Sketch. Nope, that's not what I'm looking for. Go down here. Nope, that's not what I'm looking for either. It's being a pain. All right, let's try down here in the bottom. Considering we don't have a sketch down here, I don't think. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna have to figure that out one of these days. Okay, extrude, remove, starting offset. Let's go with, first of all, let's go with depth of 1 millimeter. That's not right. Oh, that's right. We're not removing. New. Okay. So I need to do the opposite direction of that. And the depth is going to have to be 5. Let's try that. Okay, let's try 10. Now, why don't we just do this? Don't like that. There we go. All right, so that was depth. Okay, we're going to have to go with this. All right, it's a little bit much. 12. Okay, 13. 14. Okay, so 14, so let's say 13.5. That's not too bad. It's not centered though, but it's not too bad. Okay, so now we're going to do another one. Okay, good with extrude there, and go to sketch. Actually, we need to do another sketch. So sketch, and we're going to do, we'll do it off that surface. Okay. Go to front. There we go. Okay, now let's go ahead and just remove. Let's cancel that sketch for a moment. Okay, remove or hide that. That's easier. Okay, part 2. Okay. Now, that's the sketches for the thing. Let's go ahead and hide those. Okay. There we go. A little cleaner. Okay, front. And that should not interfere with us being able to click on things anymore. Okay, so we're going to sketch off of this, and we're going to create a couple of little shelves here. All right. Rectangle. Okay. We're going to go with, start from there. Go down to here. It doesn't need to be very big. It just needs to be big enough to catch the edge and sink into the body of the handle. That way it becomes a part of it from when we print, as well as um, I think that'll do the trick. Stick out far enough to provide this as surface. I'm probably not going to put anything on the top or the bottom because I want to slide it in, and then I'll probably just put a dab of hot glue or something to hold it in place. Okay, let's go ahead and do the other side. Really? Okay. Okay, so that should work. And we're going to turn that off and extrude those. Not that far. Hmm. Mm, that's probably enough. 1 millimeter. 1 millimeter is pretty tiny though. Um, but we'll go with it. We can always make adjustments later. And that should embed itself. So let's see here. Call that good. And we're going to, yeah, that makes the whole part. Okay, that's that sketch. That's that one. We're going to go ahead and delete that sketch. Maybe not. Delete that one. Okay. Although I may have messed it up. Yeah, I think I did. I thought I made a new sketch for that. Okay. So, yeah, I made a new sketch for that. Okay. That shouldn't be, it should be separate parts. Hmm. I know somebody's in the comments going, you should do this, you should do that. I'm not a master of Onshape. Not even a master of 3D modeling. Okay, how are we going to do this? That's the problem right there. I think what I need to do is thin uh, extrude on this one. So that's offset, depth of 1 millimeter. Five. We'll make it thinner. Well, that didn't help, did it? Probably because I thinned it in the direction where the surface is. So, hmm. So anything I do there is not going to work. Yeah, let's go with, let's delete the extrusion. And let's delete, that's not what I meant to do. Okay. Where is that sketch? Right there. Okay. Wanted to do is delete the extrusion here. I think I know what to do. Well, no, that's not going to work either because that would delete the sketch here. And if I change the offset, it's just going to pull the surface for the sketch up here. I don't think there's any way around that. Although this is on the it's on that plane, which means I could create a new sketch on that plane and then throw them back. All right, let's do that. Okay, front. All right, sketch, plane. All right, let's do this again. There's one. There's two. Okay. Now, when I look at this, there we go. Now I can offset these, and they're not attached. They're they're on their own sketch, and they're not attached to the surface here. So I should be able to offset them to where they go, and then should be able to delete this sketch, and that should make them work. Okay, so extrude, opposite direction. Okay, offset depth of 1 millimeter. Hello. Okay. 13. How come I'm not getting 1 millimeter? There it is, right there. Aha. Okay, and then that would be 12. Okay. 11.5. That looks pretty good. Okay. And then we'll call that good. And see, this is where we run into a problem, is that I'm trying to avoid making that one part. So we're going to go back to this sketch. Where'd it go? This sketch. And delete it. Of course, that may screw things up. Of course, that's going to be an issue. Okay, sketch 15, extrude 13. Okay, let's make sure. Missing part. How's that a missing part? Maybe what I need to do is bring this back. External references, huh? Merge scope. Let's try this. Shouldn't be any external references. That should be it. Front plane. There we go. Okay, extrusion. It looks like they are not all the way in there. Okay, so I'm gonna have to fix that. So front. All right, sketch 15, and we're gonna have to go drag this over a little bit more. Okay. A little bit more for the left side there. Pardon me. There we go. That should fix that. All right, so we should be able to throw a Arduino Nano down there in place behind those, and it should sit there and maybe, hot glue it, not super hot glue. Okay. Okay, so what is this thing doing? All right, I think I'm gonna have to go and bring that back. Looks like I don't have any choice. Actually, go back forward again. Okay, sketch 15. Okay, that sketch 15 is right there, so I should be able to go to extrude 12 and change that to 0.5. There we go. Now I can go and fix the problems where it's not in the walls. Okay, so sketch 15. Okay, do that. A little bit more. Okay, now we have correct set in there. Everything is generated properly. Let's see, part 3. Part 2, I can actually just hide because I'm tired of looking at it and tired of messing with it. Okay, so front. All right, so now we have the, the little bars for the Arduino Nano to sit in, and we're going to need the speaker holder. Okay, so we're going to work from the left side on this one. Okay, let's see here. Okay, this is the speaker holder is going to be the last thing we work on. Okay, let's see here. Okay, that's going to be 17 tall and 12 wide. Okay. We're going to do a rectangle first. Twelve wide, 17 tall. Okay. So we're gonna put some radiuses on this so that we can, because blah, 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 the speakers are oval or capsule shaped in lengthways, flat with a capsule shape. So let's see. Radius ought to be 6 for that, I believe. Because it's 12 wide. So that should be good there. And I'm gonna offset these in just a bit in order to make a thin wall for the speaker to sit inside of. So let's see here. Turn that off. Okay, and we're going to do offset, and we're going to go inwards. 1 millimeters. I should check that dimension. Almost. Almost. That should be close enough to is it? I think it is, yeah. Okay, so the width is 11.39. So out of 12, so 11.4, so zero point 0.6, so 0.3 on each side. Okay, so 0.3 wall. Okay. All right. Let's see what that does. 0.3. That's pretty small. I don't know. That's so small that the printer is not going to print that because the minimum size for a printer is 0.4. So we are going to leave it at that size, and we are going to expand this, and then we'll end up deleting the original. So good there. And we're going to grab this. Okay. We're going to offset it again. There we go. And this time we're going to offset it out here. A little bit thicker wall. Um, that's probably good right there. Hopefully. All right, now we should be able to go ahead and delete this. Oh, cancel that. Okay. All right, now we have a wall to set the speaker into. So let's go ahead and not do that. Let's do that. Extrude. Where did it go? Why is it doing it that way? It's off the back side. Okay. Okay, and we're going to make it, what is the dimension for that? The depth of that is 3.86, so we're going to go with 4 millimeters. Okay. All right, we're good with that. Now we have that. So we're going to translate that, transform that. We're going to use XYZ, bring it over here. Okay. This up, upsies, upsies, uppies, uppies. Okay, up a little bit more. Okay, we're going to move it over a little bit. I would like to rotate this, but I think it'll let me do it. Okay, let's do that. And then we'll go down to part 5, grab that, see if I can rotate it. Rotate. I can't roll my R's. Okay, where is it? Not isolate. Select. Okay, zoom to fit. Blah, 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 blah. Show dimensions. edit. Looks like we're not going to be able to do that. Okay, so let's see, transform. I think there's an option here to rotate. There is an option to rotate. That's right. Okay. And we're going to go with the axis of, we have to do, this is going to suck. Because I hate doing the axis. Maybe I should have, no. All right, we're going to go with that as an axis. Just because it's the easiest one to go with. So we're going to go with 25. How about 20? How about 15? How about 10? 10 looks pretty good. I like that. Okay, do that. All right. Okay, part 5. Translate by XYZ. We're going to move it in further. We're doing that because we want it to stick. We want it to be embedded. Yeah, it's going to look kind of weird. I'm sure it will. Looks to be symmetrical though. Come on. Okay. It's going to look weird. Yeah, it does look weird. I suppose I could go in and remove these two, and leave it as just one hole. And that would technically work. Maybe I should just do that. Okay, we're gonna click OK on that, so that's permanently there. It's embedded in the body now. So let's go back to the right side. Let's edit this. Okay. Okay. Sketch 9. Here we go. And we're going to go ahead and just remove these. Okay, we're going to call that good. All right. Now it has a slot there for the speaker. If I have to, I'll just go in and I'll make that slot bigger, but for now, that's good. We should still get some sound out of it. Okay. And we have our little bars for holding the Arduino. Okay. All right, so that's going to be it for tonight. I know these are long, but it takes time to maneuver things around, figure out how I'm going to do it. Okay, so this right here so far, not including any section at the top here for lights, is constructed for the LED screen, the lights, the buttons, the Arduino Nano, and the speaker. We have not done anything about a plug down here or any section up here to make it look cool yet. So till next time, which hopefully won't be that long because I really enjoy doing this, I'll talk to you then.